I have a confession to make. I like fighting games. They're fun to play, and they can have a lot of depth to them. And in fighting games, there is one type of character that is the hardest to master and has the most amount of depth. And I'm talking about mimic characters. I mean, it should be pretty obvious why. It's their gimmick. So how do you master a mimic character? You have to master every character in the game. What a Sisyphean task. And even among the mimic characters, there's a very special case that stands above the rest. And this video is not about which game is better. Mortal Kombat, Darkstalkers, King of Fighters, Street Fighter, Virtua Fighter, Tekken. Every fighting game is unique and great in their own way. And besides, they all pale in comparison to the absolute masterpiece that is Balls 3D. No, what I'm going to be talking about is a very special mimic character that you not only need to master every character in the game, you also have to relearn these characters all over again. And you will never guess what character I'm talking about. It's Mokujin. Of course it's Mokujin. Have you seen my channel Best Character? And getting right into it, here's a few examples of what makes Mokujin unique. There are combos he cannot do. Combos only he can do on characters of a certain size. Combos he cannot do on characters of a certain size. Unique pickups he can do on smaller characters. Unique interactions during tag combos. Unique Oki, tech traps, weird interactions at the wall. Weird interactions in the open. He is somehow more evasive. There is everything that involves true ogre. And certain combos becoming much easier or much harder. And that's just a few of the couple hundred unique interactions involving Mokujin. Now when other mimic characters copy someone else, they don't play too differently. They copy everything right down to their size. So what makes Mokujin special? How does he have all these unique interactions and changes that vary from minor to outright altering a character's playstyle? Well, one of the reasons why is that Mokujin has a static height. What this means is that it doesn't matter who he's copying, his size does not change. So he can have farther or shorter reach or can hit higher or lower compared to whoever he is copying. So you might be thinking, wow, so this must be what makes Mokujin unique, right? No. Mokujin is not unique. You can easily count on one hand other mimic characters that are just like Mokujin, if you're missing a few fingers. Even in the Tekken series, like Tekken Tag 1 Unknown. By the way, Wood. Just like Mokujin, she has a static height. And in Tekken 4, Combat, also Wood, also has a static size. And it's not just in Tekken either. If we go over to Soul Calibur, we have the Edge Master, who by the way is literally me. He's the Edge Master, and I'm the Master of Edging. And if we take him over to Practice Mode, as you can see, he also has a static size. And if we go over to Soul Calibur 2, Charade is the same. He also has a static size. In fact, every mimic character in the Soul Calibur series has a static size. Edge Master, Charade, Olkadon, Elysium, Wood, Inferno, Kilik, all have a static size. And even with a static size, all these characters do not have more depth than other mimic characters. They do not play too differently from who they are copying. And that's due to the game itself. The movesets, the combo system, the heights of the characters. None of these things click together to make the mimic characters stand out, like Mokujin in Tekken Tag 2. In fact, the same could be said about Unknown, or Combat, and even Mokujin in the earlier Tekken games. Yeah, Mokujin was just a generic mimic character. So what happened? What was the other catalyst that made Mokujin transcend? And when? Well, let's just start from the beginning.
Good morning.
Tekken 3. This game is so sick. It was back then, and still is now. And the greatest fighting game character made his debut. Mokujin. One of the first 3D mimic characters. And right from the start, he's already perfect. The gold standard for mimic characters. He mimics a different character every round. And a quick check in practice mode.
Mokujin. Fight. King. Fight.
And would you look at that, the first mimic character to have a static height. Mokujin has had this since the beginning, and in every subsequent game. So if anybody says that Mokujin's difference in reach is a bug, or it's unintended, laugh at these people. They are stupid. Call them a moron, and tell them that they don't know nothing about Tekken. Mokujin's static height is one of the key components that makes Mokujin Mokujin. Anyways, nothing unique here in Tekken 3. It's his debut game after all. So moving on to the next one, Tekken Tag Tournament. So Tetsujin has a static size. He's roughly the same height as Mokujin in Tekken 3. And just like Tekken 3, there's really nothing unique in Tekken Tag Tournament, but this game is still amazing. Tekken 4. Yeah, no Mokujin, who cares about this game? I'm only joking. While I'm not the biggest fan of the gameplay, Tekken 4 has some of the best outfits, the best stages, and the best music in Tekken. Tekken 4 also introduced Christy. Damn, she cute. And also introduced Heihachi's Fundoshi. Damn. Now for Tekken 5, and my personal favorite game in the Tekken series, Dark Resurrection. Starting off, Mokujin has a static height, longer reach than Julia, and shorter reach than Dragunov. Tekken 4 introduced wall combos, and Tekken 5 has them. However, there's nothing very elaborate about wall combos. They're pretty short and simple, so Mokujin doesn't have anything unique. And the same for normal combos, with the exception of larger characters like Jack or Marduk. And it's nothing special, you just have to do maybe one less jab during a bread and butter combo, but besides that, you can still do very good damage. And the larger characters have a surprisingly good backdash. Mix that together with Mokujin's smaller size and Tekken 5's movement, it's very easy to sidestep in comparison to the larger characters. And besides that, nothing really special. So moving on to the next game, Tekken 6. This game had my favorite version of Jin, the edgy war criminal, because now Jin was acting like the average person who mains him, and Tekken 6 also had the best customization in the series, especially for Mokujin. So real quick, testing Mokujin's static height. Tekken 6 also made some changes to its combo system, by adding this, the bound, and wall combos were more elaborate, and the combo system in general was made longer. This is it. This is when Mokujin transcended. All it took was just a few small tweaks to the combo system, caused a butterfly effect of elaborate changes to Mokujin. Changes that are both good and bad. And the bad can be really bad. I mean, look at it. Even after 15 years, I hate it. So all of the things I mentioned before started in Tekken 6. Combos Mokujin cannot do. Combos Mokujin can do on smaller characters. Combos Mokujin cannot do on smaller characters. And I picked this combo because 69 damage, by the way. It was all here. Unique Oki, unique tech traps, all the weird interactions and unique interactions. It was Tekken 6. At this point, Mokujin was at his peak. There was no way he could get more elaborate. There was no way he could become more in depth. Right? And then Tekken Tag Tournament 2 came out, and Mokujin became even more peak. The final version of Tag 2 had 59 characters. Oh, and by the way, the characters on the top row are DLC characters. All of them were free, by the way, back then. It also shows that Mokujin works just fine with DLC. And of the 59 characters, Mokujin can copy 56 of them. Mokujin cannot copy the boss character Unknown. Would. Mokujin cannot copy Combat. Would. And he can't copy himself. Would. Now besides the addition of more characters, there are some big changes from Tekken 6 to Tag 2. New moves were added in, the properties of some moves were changed, and some hitboxes were adjusted. Now just like with the bound system, these small adjustments and new moves caused a butterfly effect that made some big changes for Mokujin. For instance, Dragunov here. In Tag 2 he can now go into sneak after forward 3, and sneak canceling after forward 3 up to his combo game. But he can't do forward 3 into forward 3, he's a little too tall to do that. But now remember, Mokujin has always been shorter than Dragunov since Tekken 5. Now Mokujin is short enough to do forward 3 loops. Now in Tekken 6, Mokujin was just a straight downgrade from Dragunov, but now he's arguably better with the extra damage he can dish out, if you have the execution to do it. Now in Tekken 6, Mokujin could do Nina's butterfly combos just fine. There was really no difference, but in Tag 2, they adjusted the hitbox a little bit. Now let's see if you can spot the difference. Here's Nina. Now here's Mokujin. Notice the difference? With Mokujin, I did everything frame perfect. But let me elaborate. Here's a side-by-side comparison, where the second while standing one was timed perfectly down to the frame. And look, Mokujin is a little taller than Nina, so now while standing one is 1 frame tighter, just because Mokujin hits a little higher. This makes butterfly loops frame perfect, and is now one of the hardest things to do in Tekken. Now some of you might be thinking, oh, it's just 1 frame of difference, how bad could it be? Do you know what 1 frame tighter means? 1 frame is the difference between landing a perfect electric and missing it. So if your execution is good enough, one frame can mean all the difference. I can do Nina's butterfly combos in my sleep, but when doing it with Mokujin, I can't do it. It's really hard. Another hitbox change is the Bear's Hell Sweep. Now in Tekken 6, the down back 4 into while standing 4 is very consistent, very easy to do. But in Tag 2, it's impossible, unless you do it at a very specific angle. Oh, and never go for down forward 2-1. Mokujin's arms are too short, it will always whiff, even if while standing 4 lands. It does land consistently if you're on a stage with a floor break, just because of a weird thing about Tekken. On a floor break, the characters are slightly elevated. It's really hard to notice, but this allows for some weird pickups, as you can see. It's also why, when you look at combo videos, a lot of them do it on a stage with a floor break, because it allows for more consistent combos, makes things a little easier, and allows for some unique pickups. I think this happens in Tekken 7 on Forgotten Realms as well. But I never really played Tekken 7. There's no Mokujin in it. Now anybody who's played Tekken 7 and knows about this, please tell me. I just want to make sure I'm not misremembering anything. Well, I talked about Mommy Nina, so let's talk about Mommy Issues Steve. Now on larger characters, Steve can do the Blue Sparks 1 pickup after a counter hit back 1 without having to go into flicker stance. But he has to go into flicker stance on smaller characters. And now Mokujin is a little shorter than Steve. So Mokujin has no problem landing the Blue Spark 1 pickup without having to go into flicker stance. This is kinda useless, but at least it's something. Now the shorter height does mean that Mokujin cannot do some bread and butter combos when he's copying Steve. So due to the shorter reach, you gotta use weaker combos with less wall carry. And I guess one more thing. And you would think, with Mokujin's larger size, Art of Phoenix would be a little harder for him to use. No. No. But man, what an amazing character Mokujin is. Namco has struck gold. They got lightning in a bottle by pure chance, which is pretty fitting for the character. Everything just luckily clicked together. The combo system, his height, his build, all the character's movesets, everything to make perfection. Now I'm not going to show any more examples of the unique interactions Mokujin has because this video would be a couple hours long on just Tekken Tag 2 alone, not counting Tekken 6. Now I did make a video over a year ago that succinctly goes over the changes between Mokujin and whoever he's copying, and briefly goes over it in under a minute. I'll leave a link in the description, if anyone's interested. So yeah, Tekken Tag 2 Mokujin is peak. For now. Oh, and before I go into this next bit, here's a small little tidbit information. Did you know that Kazuya is a little taller than Mokujin? And the same goes for Paul? And that Lily is a little shorter than Mokujin? And Brian Fury is a little taller. Just thought I'd let you know. Now where was I? Oh yeah, I said Tag 2 Mokujin was peak for now. And the reason I said for now is because imagine this. You know how in Tekken 6 the bound system caused a butterfly effect that turned Mokujin into what he is today? So imagine if the bound was a little different, like say a screw or a tornado. And I don't know, what if there was a new gameplay mechanic or a move that would extend combos and hits very low? A kind of bound move, I don't know, it starts with the letter H. And you know how with Dragunov, in Tag 2, giving him sneak out of forward 3 allowed Mokujin to do forward 3 loops. So what if, and I mean just a pretty big what if more characters had sway cancels, or stance cancels? Characters that are a different size from Mokujin. All I can say is just imagine the possibilities. I mean, just having one simple move go into a stance that you could cancel out of gave Mokujin some of the best wall carry in the game. So who knows what he could do with stance cancels from other characters, or if other characters had them. Oh yeah, this is just a random thing, but I really like Shaheen's combos. There's a lot of stance canceling that's really fun to do. He's also a little tall, just an observation. But Mokujin is one of my favorite characters. And these are just some random thoughts I like to ponder about. Just things I like to imagine. Now I can only say imagine, because, well, I see Mokujin's silhouette here, but I can't find him anywhere here. And I also can't find him anywhere here either. Huh. What a shame. And thank you for watching. And also, Mokujin for Tekken 8.